Joining us now here, of course, she is the head coach of the UConn Huskies, fresh off a Big East championship and the automatic bid to the NCAA Tournament. An historic year for the Huskies program. I speak of our good friend back with us, Laura Valentino, joining us here at In the Circle on D1 Softball, powered by 643. Well, that's a nice little added extra resume to the title there for you there, huh?
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that very much. And yes, we are very proud of our team from last year and being able to bring a trophy back to stores after 24 years, last championship being in 2001. They were extremely driven from the start to put a number on the wall in the outfield. For this program. So it was very exciting. I still think about the moment watching them dogpile on the field. Gives me chills thinking about it, and probably not my best interview post game because I was emotional and just overwhelmed with joy for the program. So very, very excited and proud of the team to achieve that milestone last year.
You clearly have had some time to think about it and reflect on it. You've been on the show before. We've talked about you've won those regular season titles, but come up short in the Big East tournament. And we talked about how to be in a process and everything like that. What did it mean to get over the hump? And what was it about last year's team that was the team that was able to get it over the hump?
Sure, absolutely. I think the some of the keys to getting over that hump and winning the championship at the end was first, I think last year's team was extremely well connected. I think that that's one of our core values. We talk about it, but you could just feel it amongst last year's group of the respect amongst one another, the willingness to put the team first, we before me at all times. And I think that they really gelled together both on, around, and off the field. On all cylinders. So that I think was the first key. And then the second one that really stood out to me was their competitive mindset. We talked a lot about last year moving the needle in that aspect of us as a team and being able to not only set the tone, but keep our foot on the gas pedal. And then we called it buckle up. So basically, we wanted to make people feel like they had to buckle up against us in those last couple of innings of play. So, you know me, just coming up with different ways to inspire the group. And we had a move the needle board, and we had different goals and process-oriented things that led to the little things that we wanted to achieve in game. And I will say it was really neat to see the team embrace that mentality of setting the tone and really dominating people. They really offensively, you saw the numbers, and not only, obviously the offensive performance was great, but that just allows us to be able to put people away, and our pitchers, were able to dominate in their realm, and our defense was obviously held down by some staple senior players. So that was really, really exciting for us to be able to see that carry over into our play on the field. And throughout the tournament, there was no let up. Yes, it was a close first game. The first game is always tough in the tournament, but being able to see them go at Creighton, and I mean, I think it was probably the largest run production in a conference tournament final that the Big East has seen. So they were definitely driven to put people away and dominate them all the way through the season.
Take me through that preparation for the Big East tournament because you had just had that big series against St. John's at home. St. John's, give them credit, they had a heck of a year with the great arms that they had. Didn't go the way you would have liked to finish the regular season. So take me through that mindset and regrouping there and just turning into a different level in that Big East tournament.
Sure, I think that it definitely was a high emotional series. I mean, how much better can it get than competing for the conference title in the last series? I mean, it's exciting, right? That's what you love about sport. And I treated it that way with them. Like, how great that we get to compete for a championship on our field in the last weekend. So, although it didn't go our way, and there were some things that we did really well, and then we fell short in that last game. But I think the biggest turning point was being able to flip the switch from that game to the conference tournament was it was a new season. Like really, it's obviously we pride ourselves on being great in all areas or segments of the season, but really we knew what we wanted from the season was a conference title. And yes, it would have been great to be a regular season champion, but we were able to do a really good job of flipping the switch of this is a new season, this is a new week, and we know how to win against all the teams in the tournament. So that was really key from our upperclassmen, and they led the way after that weekend going into the conference tournament.
You beat Providence, who really played some good softball, get into the Big East tournament down the stretch with Coach Christensen. And then, like you mentioned, your offense put it on a different level, scoring 30 runs in the last two games there against Creighton. Take me through those last couple of outs, last couple of inning there, where you pretty much know you've got this wrapped up and it's going to be reality that you're going to you've hoisted the regular season, but now you're going to hoist the Big East tournament title and that automatic bid to the NCAA's.
Yeah, I vividly remember, I believe we had one out in the second inning, and I think we scored 8 or 9 runs in one inning. And I mean, Eric, it was back to back to back base runners. And then, they would change pitchers and, um, pass ball into a walk. And then it was just constant pressure. There was no let up from 1 through 9 of our offense. I mean, I obviously, leading off with Lexi Hastings was a tremendous tone setter for us, but I think Savannah Ring really started that inning. She was our 9 hitter in that game. She, uh, worked a 3-2 count and then a walk with the bases loaded to score, I think, the first or second run of the game. And that just snowballed from there. So it was in that moment that I was like, okay, there's no turning back. They're not letting up in this game. And we're gonna walk away from the title. But I think, talking to some of my family and friends and the staff even after the game, they were wondering if I was gonna take Peyton out or, what I was gonna do next steps in the process with that game. And anybody that knows me, I'm ultra competitive and I definitely love the foot on the gas pedal mentality. I don't like to take my foot off the gas. So I was very intense in that moment, although I felt truly inside that I believed that we were going to win. I was like, I'm not going to think that until the game is over. So it really hit me when, the last out was made. And, what's so crazy is it's a feeling of pride and gratitude. And then, that instant feeling of, okay, how do we do this again? Right? Like I was pretty much, it was so quick to be like, this is so awesome. Okay, like we're gonna go to LSU and make it happen and compete there, but I want to make this a habit and let's do this again.
Don't you allow yourself a few minutes? You allow
Yeah.
you sounds like to me. In your defense, you and Creighton had played some crazy games, especially in the regular season. There was that memorable regular season game where it turned into a football game. So I don't really blame you for not, uh, you know, you just never know in this sport. It could get crazy at times. You mentioned it. Take me through selection Sunday night. You all get together. You know you're in and you find out you're going to Baton Rouge, where there's Nebraska and LSU in that, and Southeast Louisiana, which, in retrospect, now that turned out to be maybe arguably the toughest regional in the entire tournament. What was the feelings like to be together, watch that together, and then what do you hope you what was your takeaways from that regional?
Sure. I mean, watching it pop up on the screen, it was a surreal feeling. I mean, the last time I experienced that was as a player. So it was just everything and more experiencing it as a coach. And to watch our players celebrate that moment was really special. I think I had some feelings about LSU. I played there as a player. I had some core memories as a player playing there, and the crowd and the atmosphere, and even knowing Beth a little bit. And then Rhonda Revelle had a really impactful uh, impact on me per se in the sense of being a young coach and going to the convention for the first time and hearing her speak and her inspiring story and how she motivates is something that I've always looked up to. So it was just really neat to be competing on the field with those two great coaches. And then obviously Southeast Louisiana. I mean, we went in as a 3 seed, so I was really proud of that. And what great competitors in that team as well. I mean, they obviously did extremely well in the regional. So, um, in terms of getting there and being in that atmosphere and that environment, I mean, I think the biggest takeaway was um, they're there for the first time. It's definitely that comes with learning and growing in itself. And when you do anything for the first time, and I think we didn't play our best softball there, which they knew. Like they were in a sense disappointed with the way that we competed. Not that we didn't show up wanting to win or believing that we could. We just didn't play like we were capable of. So, I think at the end of the day, it's left our group hungry for the future, in the sense of, hey, we're not happy, just happy to be here. Like our next step is we want to be competing on Sunday for the regional final, and there's no reason why we can't. And going out there and taking games, right? It's a name across the front of the jersey, and there's no reason why UConn can't be competing for a regional final on Sunday in the tournament.
Especially when you see the 4 seed do it in your own regional. They did it. I mean, so you saw
Right.
it up close. It wasn't like your players saw that. So it sounds like that's been a message for the returners. Have you sensed that since you've been back? I know you're just underway in the fall ball there, but has that been? Do you sense that unfinished business there that from the returners?
Absolutely. I mean, they have the experience there. They know what it takes to win. And I also have heard them say multiple times where we want to be a part of building a dominant dynasty at UConn. And, what does that mean? What does that look like for them? And they have said things to me like, we want to prove that this wasn't, just a fluke or, oh, it was just UConn's year last year or we just got lucky, right? So I think they know what they want in that sense of a dynasty is someone that wins consistently and is at the top consistently. And yes, we've been at the top, but we want to finish at the top consistently. And then that next step of, okay, we're going to regionals and we're winning games. Like this is something that we can do and we're capable of. So they're hungry and they're saying those things to the underclassmen, which is really neat.
Plus, there's now that confidence that they've done it. They've won that conference automatic bid. They've won the conference championship, gotten to play in a regional. They now got a taste of it, and so they're. It's almost like the old cliche: the hardest one to win is the first one.
Mhm.
And then now it's like that. There's that. Now we know we want more of that taste, and that sounds to me like that's kind of the mindset right now with some of the with the team right now.
Absolutely. I mean, they're extremely competitive. It's something that we look for in our recruiting process. Not only players of extremely high character, but competitors that want to be great, that want to be the best at everything that they're doing. And I can tell you that there's no settling here. There's no complacency of we're good with, winning the conference. We want more. So that's definitely in their blood, and you see it in the way that they're training already, right from the fall.
Let's talk a little bit about this outlook for this year's team. And I got to start with the offense because that was a historic offense you had last year. One of the most exciting offenses in the country, led by like Caitlin Breslin, who I had the privilege of talking to on the podcast last year. Remember after that historic game against Creighton, where she set the single game home run record, and you all were hitting. Of course, you got Kat, who's had an incredible freshman year. First of all, when you look back at that offense last year, is that the best offense you've ever coached there?
Yeah, I think it definitely is up there in terms of power numbers for sure. I mean, we not only hit for doubles, but we hit the ball over the fence in some really big key moments. So that was I, have always been taught from Coach Edwards and Larissa just about pitching to the best hitter and not letting the best hitter beat you. And there were so many times where there was such steady pressure through the middle of our lineup that literally any of those kids that you just mentioned would come up and deliver a big hit in a big moment. And it was so tough to get us out. So that was really encouraging to see. I mean, Caitlin Breslin coming from, freshman year to sophomore year and really an explosive season. And even players like, Haley Kupal, who really came on strong at the end of the season, really produced in some big moments for us as well. So I really I can't say enough good things about Coach Mack and what she did with our offense. She's an outstanding coach and a really great developer of hitters. And she's got the buy-in now more than ever, right? I remember first year as an assistant coach, and it takes time to build trust and a foundation with players. And she's in year three, and I think that hitters continue to show up to practice getting better every day. I'm excited to see, our returners have even better years than last year, like the Kat Pettis and Kaya Higa, two other players that are going to be in the middle of our lineup this year, really producing some power numbers.
You mentioned Kat Petty. What a year, freshman year she had, was a D1 softball freshman All American. What made her stood out right away? That just made the huge contribution. And then you mentioned Breslin. That was a breakout year. I mean, we've heard of her before that, but you mentioned she took it to a different level. What did you see from those two? One coming in right away, instant impact. The other one just exploding right before our very eyes.
Hmm. Well, with Kat, I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. I knew she was going to be great. Obviously, again, talk about you have assistants on staff that hadn't seen players, hadn't seen that freshman class. And I'm talking about them like, guys, these kids are going to be, really, really good for our program. So Kat comes in, first week of practice, and I'm talking a big game about her and what she's going to do for our program. And, um, she goes into her first practice, and let's just say Coach Mack came up to her with a little bit of concern because she swung and missed quite a bit in her first practice. So it's just funny how, being a freshman, it brings its challenges, but really having a relationship and a foundation with her in the sense of, the more we can eliminate that freshman mentality of age is just a label. Like you're out there. She earned our starting shortstop position. I mean, nobody cares. The game doesn't know that you're a freshman. That's hitting in the middle of our lineup and our shortstop. So she just has this innate competitiveness. Her biggest cue is like you're not beating me. She has the mentality of like there's no way that you're gonna get me out. And that's what is one of the things that makes her so great. And I'm really excited to see her continue to get better and grow as a player. I think with freshman year comes some maturity and growth with failure. It's a whole nother level, right? Going from high school to college ball in that space. So the spotlight's on you, and you have to be able to recover really, really, really quickly. So I think Kat learned that really well last year, and excited to see that blossom even more in her sophomore year. And I think Brez is, somebody that again on the recruiting trail, I was like, wow, this kid has some power, right? And it's that light bulb moment, and she had it last year. She, made a couple little tweaks. She's trains extremely hard. Not only we talk about doing more than what's required, those two kids model that day in and day out. And the light bulb went off for her, and she, would go up there. And again, it was really tough to get her out. So she's somebody that has a knack for smiling no matter what. Like I call it the Jonna Sandin mentality, right? Like she would mess up and she would still be smiling and have a positive outlook on everything that she did. And Brez embodies that to the extreme as well. She's always positive. She's lifting people up around her no matter what the results are for her as a player. And she steps in the box ready to change the game every time.
Yeah, I was really impressed with her how she handled the spotlight that after that weekend against Creighton, where she set the single game home run record and highlights were everywhere. And we were fortunate to have her on the pod, and she was fantastic there. And boy, she didn't stop hitting after that either. I mean, they kept pitching to her, which you were happy to kept pitching to her, but she kept going from that level on. Do you remember that game? What was it like being in the dugout in that game for that wildness that went through 2 days, and she did what she did? And your offense, obviously, scoring a ton of runs.
Do I remember that game? Of course, it was wild. I was getting texts, literally what you said. I think my athletic director asked if we were playing lacrosse. Um, so I mean, I was in awe. I mean, just to have a kid go around the bases 4 times in one game, I was blown away. Seriously, just by and if you watch the film back, multiple zones, right? To Creighton's credit, it wasn't like she was hitting the same ball over the fence every time. I mean, she was just on fire. So that was extremely neat. I mean, I will say it was a feeling that I had never have had for as a coach. Because we would put up so many runs and then we would give them back. And I was going from a high to a low all in a very short amount of time. And it was just a wild test of resilience and battle and being able to turn it off halfway through the game and come back again the next day. I mean, what was so, I mean, I could tell you right now, when we stepped off the bus to finish that game, it was over. Like I knew the vibe from the team was there's no way that we're letting Creighton back into this game. And exactly that happened. We started with a runner on. Heidi Barber came up, 2 outs, delivered a single. We scored first batter with 2 outs. And it was really, really a turning point, I would say, for our season as a team. So I would call that a staple game. And we really nailed down from a pitching standpoint after that. And our offense really they saw that they could dominate people. I mean, the fact that they put up 24 runs was incredible.
I'll say I'm following it closely. It was like wild. It's like, man, is this ever going to end? But it's incredible, historic. Nobody will ever forget. So with that in mind, you have some returners back from the offense, but there are some pieces you've got to replace, as it is in college athletics with graduations and movement and everything. You got new faces. Just tell us a little bit. What can people expect from this year with the offense and specifically even some of the defense? Because I know that's something you take pride in as well as defense comes with that. You don't just throw in your 9 best bats. You got to be able to play some glove as well.
Sure, absolutely. So I think this year offensively, you can expect similar pressure in the sense of, I think we're going to be a dynamic team like we always are. I think that obviously last year we didn't have to run as much just because of the pure fact of we were putting the ball over the fence and hitting the ball in the gap. So it was silly to chance running into an out. But I think that we're going to again hit for great doubles numbers. I think we have some great speed that you're going to see again from our offense. We're going to create some chaos, I think, for some other teams. Um, and I'm excited to see some upperclassmen step up. I think you have Haley Kupal, Savannah Ring, and Caitlin Kibling, seniors that are kids that I absolutely love. I think that they are kids that I remember recruiting from the get-go and just saying how great they were gonna be for this program and changing the culture to win championships. And I think they are going to play their best softball yet in their senior years. I'm really excited for those three. And then obviously you have Kai Higa and Jess Walter from Providence, grad student. So those are our, upperclassmen contributing and leading from the top. And then I would say defensively, yes. I think that we are going to play great defense this year. And that's something that I believe contributes to championships. I think it contributes especially in postseason play or, when we're playing Tennessee, right? Last year we lost the game on a defensive miscue, right? I can tell you that Kat Pettis is, hungrier than ever to be back on that stage, making that play in that big moment. And I think we're going to play better defense this year. I think we're more experienced. I think we're extremely talented defensively. And I think in those big moments, whether it's in the regionals or on a big stage, we're going to make those big plays. So I'm excited about that. I think that's definitely going to round out another great year of UConn softball, just with great pitching, timely hitting, and great defense on top of it.
Who are some of the new faces you think will contribute right away offensively that could chip in? First, starting on the offensive side, and then we'll get to the pitching.
Sure. I think that offensively, I mean, we have, quite a great freshman class that, we brought in. And, I think all of them bring something really unique to our team. Two of them being Ava and Alexis Jewell. So Ava Calciano and Alexis Jewell are going to contribute offensively for us. I mean, Caprice Bomer is a two-way player that will pitch and hit and bring some power offensively. Then you have, Bella Lundquist, who is a very dynamic outfielder. I mean, she tracks the ball. She reminds me of Caitlin Kibling in the outfield. So I'm super excited to see what she can do out there for us. And then we have Bella Safola, who brings speed on the bases for us. So again, all kids that are extremely talented in different ways. And last but not least is Emma Willers. She's a power lefty that, yikes, watch out, scoreboard. The ball's going to fly over the scoreboard when she hits it on the nose. So um, I think all of them have the capability to contribute to our team. And then I just referenced a couple of them before, but Kae Higa, I think that she, had some things she was battling last year, just that kept her out of the lineup a little bit here and there. But in my mind, there's no reason why she's not coming up in big moments and producing for us with power. She's doing a great job so far. She's healthy. She's training extremely hard. She's a captain for our team this year, along with Caitlin Kibling. So I think those two are going to contribute towards the top of our lineup, and obviously have Kat Pettis and Caitlin Breslin and Haley Kupal and Savannah Ring. So all of those players are producing really well offensively right now. I'm excited to see what they do this upcoming season.
So you've become a podcast veteran because you already stole my thunder. I was going to say, like, I'm still in denial about Lexi Hastings not being seen in the top of the order. And I was going to ask you, how do you fill that slot of a leadoff spot? But you've kind of addressed it already there. You have some names in mind. Is that something, as coaches, do you have specific names in mind for the leadoff spot? Do you you give different players opportunities? How does that work when you just had one that you pretty much put it in pen every
Sure.
game?
Yes, so we statistically, or just looking in the past, we like to put a high contact speed player in the leadoff spot. So, looking at the players that we have this year, we definitely have a few options. So right now we're working through what that's going to look like, trying out a couple of different things this fall. So we definitely have some speed and contact players. I mean, I just named a few: Caitlin Kibling, Ava Calciano. I mean, who knows? We could put Kat Pettis up there. She can steal some bases as well. And then Bella Cruz, she had a rough year with some injuries last year, but I'm excited to see her. She's a dynamic player as well with speed and contact at the top. So it could be any of those four kids. And again, it's nice to have options, right? Obviously, Lexi was a staple, but all of them are competing hard. And what I love to see most is their making each other better, which is only going to help our team as a whole, 1 through 9, those four.
Good problem to have.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Your pitching staff, you obviously had a couple of pitchers, double digit wins at the top of your rotation. How do you feel about your pitching? You know, you got a veteran name like Kenny. I mean, it feels like she's been there forever. Now, obviously, you got to replace her. But how do you see your pitching staff?
I'm excited. We have 6 arms on staff this year. So, I think especially watching Big East softball, you have to obviously score runs to win, but you also have to be able to stop people from scoring runs. So, I think that what I love most about our pitching staff this year is we're really well balanced in terms of experience and tools. Jess Walter from Providence, we're really excited about having her on staff. Some great experience and, her working, she's really excited to work with Coach G and get better and refine a couple of things. So she is, our veteran on staff. And then we have a freshman, Caprice Bomer, who's going to do some great things for us this year. And then we really added some depth with Alex Batcher from UNC. She's originally from Connecticut. Excited how she spins the ball and keeps people off balance. So it's great to have a balance of speed and spin and people that do things really well. And then we have 3 returners with Sydney, Stella, and Amber who, have a little bit of hard in and down and off speed. So it really, none of them really look the same at all. So I think it's going to be really tough for other teams to, number one, know who to expect going out there. I think it's going to be a guessing game and also to be able to prepare because we have so many different tools on our staff. So I'm psyched. I'm really excited that we're not going to have to rely on one person and be able to, you know, keep people guessing as to what we're going to do on the mound.
So that's a little different there. You feel you have more depth than before, whereas before maybe you had to lean on one or two arms. Now it sounds like you've got some different variety there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, just embracing all of them are doing a great job embracing of, hey, you might not be just a designated starter or a designated reliever. Yes, we might see some tendencies that pan out throughout the year that lead to success for us, but they're embracing whatever that looks like on staff. And they're not going to let a label deter them from being successful and being a relentless competitor out there. So I think it's a great thing to have in your pitchers of they're willing to do any and all of start, middle relief, or close, and that's just going to make each of them tougher to beat when it comes down to the end of the season and winning another championship.
Let's talk a little bit about the Big East. I find it fascinating, dramatic. I thought last year was a great example with St. John's and the rise of their program to win the regular season title. Your program, Coach Wood and Creighton knocking on the door once again for a conference championship. Villanova and the job Coach Orchard. Describe the Big East. I know from what I understand, it's going to be a 14 tournament this year versus 6. That'll be a little more interesting there, Rosemont. Your reaction to the formatting for the Big East tournament and what's ahead for the league?
Hey, I think you nailed it. I mean, we have some great coaches that are doing great things in our conference, and it's competitive every year, right? It feels like more and more competitive every year, which is great. I love that for our conference. I think the announcement of the 4-team field, I think obviously looking at the last 4 years in the conference, it always comes down to the end, right, of the seeding. It's most of the time, yeah, there's maybe the 1 and the 2 are really set, and then that 3 through 6 spot is very much up for grabs or changes based off that last weekend. So, I think it just puts even more emphasis on every game really matters. And one game could really change the outcome of who that last team in the tournament is going to be this year. So I think it really makes me think about setting the tone from the start and getting better as we go. But it's exciting. I think that you're going to see another great year of Big East softball and people doing some awesome things.
Yeah, I mean, have you got the respect? You were a 3 seed last year. That's become a trend a little bit with the Big East champion being a 3 seed. I know the push is to be maybe a top 32 seed. There you go. She's read your mind. Uh, and you play the tough non-conference schedule to try to get yourself in that situation. You played Tennessee last year, as you mentioned, up in the regular season. I know you're still, you don't want to, you can't give too much away, but I would imagine this upcoming year you got another challenging schedule ahead.
You know it. You'll see us back in, the SEC country. And, I think that it's something that I always have believed in. I think that there's great great value to growing your team and getting experience on that stage and um, competing against, maybe a Power Four team in that moment to prepare you for that regional tournament. So I think I'm excited for the landscape of what we have in store for this group. I think we're gonna embrace being road dogs, right? It's something that we're used to. We're going to start the conference season away 2 weekends in a row to start. So it's something that we're going to embrace and, instill in our kids that we're ready for the challenge and ready to take on whoever's standing in our way of achieving what we want to achieve.
On the road warriors there. Go be on the road. Right off the start there, the conference play. Talk about your coaching staff and what they've meant. You got a new face in there. Just talk about your staff and what they've meant and what they do on the roll. You got some names there. So what? Tell us a little bit about them.
Oh, where do I start? Um, well, I love them very much. They are Um, they're like family to me. So I think that um, I know we wouldn't be where we were last year without them. And obviously the offensive numbers speak for themselves as, to how good of a offensive coach Coach Mack is, but she brings so many things more than being a great coach to me, to the players. Um, She's extremely intelligent. She, is a great sounding board for me as the head coach and making me think maybe a little bit differently or how can we better our players or strategize for this moment. So she just brings a great balance for me in the way that I think she constantly is challenging me to be better. And I just love working alongside her every day. And then Coach G Juarez is, going into year two, and I couldn't be happier to have her a part of the staff. She is a champion in everything that she does. I mean, obviously, her experience is something that filters into our team on a daily basis. I mean, the players look to her and what a great role model to have on your staff for our players going through college softball. But she has a winning attitude and a winning mindset to her every conversation that she has with a player, with me, to the decisions that she makes. It's a championship mindset that she brings to the way that she works and the way that she acts around the staff and the players. So just another person that I am extremely grateful to work alongside every day. So wouldn't be here without them. And just again, going into a year where you have bring consistency amongst your staff just means more growth for your program. We just added Sydney Fleming as an assistant coach she graduated from Williams College. Her head coach is in the Hall of Fame, Chris Herman. She's a mentor of mine. She is extremely driven, hardworking, great addition to our staff. So excited to have her assist in all aspects. So I really am thrilled to be in this office every day. I was saying to them the other day, just the vibe is awesome. We have a lot of fun and enjoy being around each other, which makes work even better.
I could sense that. I could sense it, and I could see it in your face. I mean, this is definitely the most you've smiled in all the times you've come on the show, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I would imagine it was a good feeling when you ran, probably you cross paths with Coach Larissa Anderson at some point during your travel, right? There had to be a little extra bragging going on there. Hey, finally got there, because we've talked about the past, what she and Coach Edwards have met, part of that tree, and I would imagine that was pretty special at some point when you all cross paths.
Absolutely. I went to Hofstra for a reason because I wanted to be great and play for great coaches. That's really why I was there. I wanted to play for the best program in the Northeast. So, I was hungry to be that program that they really created at Hofstra, and it's always been something in me to make people proud that I care about. I have a lot of great family that has supported me. I mean, the coaches along the way that have helped me get to where I am. I want to make them proud. So being able to win that championship was a really special moment for me to, see them and celebrate with them of like this is something that you've helped me do. So it was something that I was really excited to share with all of them.
Fantastic. Last thing before we let you go, obviously you got October coming up, alumni events and celebration and everything like that. But what do you want to see from your players here as the fall develops that you think could be keys for the upcoming season, and some things you're looking forward to finding out about this group in particular?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to finding out what this group's identity is going to be, or what might make them unique and special in their own way. I think they're, still meshing and molding together, just in the sense of we have 9 new players. That's almost half of our roster. So that's, something that's been new but exciting, and they're definitely driven. They're extremely hardworking, and they are really coming to practice with the mindset of let's get better every day, right? I think when you allow results or lack of execution in our game to bring you down, it just prevents you and the team from getting better. So I'm excited to see them continue to grow in that space. And, like I alluded to before, just the road dog mentality, the continued competitive mindset of how this team is going to put people away this year is something I'm looking forward to seeing us work on and see them bring to the table as we move through the rest of the fall games.
That is UConn head coach Laura Valentino joining us here on In the Circle at D1 Softball, powered by 643. Coach, always a pleasure. Great to catch up with you. Like I said, congrats again on the great historic year. I know there's more to come and your work focused on more, but great job as always. I think you were all region coaching staff of the year, and I'm just happy for your success and appreciate you coming on all these times on the show, especially this time with the busy schedule. And thanks for always talking to us here on In the Circle.
Hey, I appreciate it, Eric, and all that you do for our game, and couldn't do it without the great coaches and players alongside me. So go Huskies. Can't wait for another great year.